my name is Raygacy and I am your host for today's episode 4 of the Raygacy show. I am the owner of Raygacy and thank you for watching once more. I really appreciate the followership and you watching this show. Today is an awesome day because right here I have a very important guest. Okay, I have Professor Ravi Chandran, all the way flew from this Denmark, Copenhagen, just for this show. I really appreciate it. So, wow, thank you very much for coming, Professor Ravi.
Thank you.
Okay, so just want to let the audience know, do you mind if you share a little bit more about yourself?
Sure. Hi, for those of you who are watching, my name is Ravi. And I was originally born actually in Singapore, so it's in a way nice to be back home. Nevertheless, I left the country more than 30 years ago and have been traveling and working in Asia, in Africa, in Europe, and been over to more than 60 different countries and working.
60. Wow.
And working and living currently in Denmark. I'm a Danish citizen right now. I live in Denmark and happy to be able to be back and be part of what Raygacy is doing.
Oh, thank you very much, man. Really appreciate it. It's really my honor and pleasure to have you here today. And also at the same time, I'm just curious, like you said you have been to 60 over different countries.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really impressive, man. I have not been to 60 countries at the moment, but just wondering, how do you do that? Like, how do you manage to be? What are your keys? To be so successful massively. In terms of like be able to go to so many places, like the 60 countries, Asia, especially Europe, and even Africa. Am I right to say that?
That's right.
How do you do that?
Yeah. Well, mostly I was brought about by my job. I have been working mostly in the area of humanitarian works, in the clergy world, in the non-governmental organization, as well as in the governmental organization, mostly in Denmark in particular.
Oh, okay.
Most of the things that I've done has been in the area of teaching, training leaders, coaching, mentoring, counseling. It's working with people, and I think that the joy of seeing the fact that good teaching, good motivation actually helps the people to be built up and achieve their goals. And there's nothing like seeing somebody achieve their goal that brings about a satisfaction that is just the driving factor that keeps me going. And there are some guiding principles in success that works in Africa, in Asia, in Europe, literally around the world. And when these principles are given as tools to any individual, whatever their background, culture, language, educational level is, I found that it works, and that's my joy of being able to be a help to those who need it and see the fact that it's bringing about results, and that's what keeps me going.
Oh wow! So correct me if I'm wrong. You said that you actually have these principles that actually work, not just in Asia, not just in Europe, not just in Africa. Do you mind share with the audience a little bit about what are these principles, underlying principles that make you become so successful today?
Well, let's take the current workshop I will be conducting in a few minutes from this interview. It's on communication. So communication, for example, is a process, and this process is not something that it's just automatically acquired. It is something that can be developed as a skill, and that's just communication. It's a whole topic in itself. There are many books written on it. Having said that, there's also something called cross-cultural communication.
Cross-cultural communication.
That is where when two different cultures meet, because we are more and more living in a global society. We've got to understand that in a global society, there is a meeting of cultures. In the lack of understanding of these cultures, there would be what we call a clash of cultures, which can easily be avoided as long as two cultures are able to communicate, understand, and enhance each other's difference. That's just one aspect of it. And of course, there is issues in terms of families. There's currently one of the books that I'm writing on is in the area of how when you have children in the family, how can parents and children understand each other and communicate on a regular basis.
Wow.
In fact, have what I would call a conference, a family conference on a regular basis, like I do with my family, and resolve issues. It's preventive measures that can be taken to solve problems before they start.
Okay.
So it's very important, I think, to help people to understand that with some basic tools that they can be given, they can actually go a long way and have a better quality life for themselves.
Oh wow! That's epic, man. I mean, like, this is the most basic thing that we should know and we should do. I noticed that so many family members are having quarrels and all this because of this lack of family time or even lack of communication time with one another. So yeah, I mean, wow, this is really inspiring. Wow, thank you very much. And so now that you have been talking about this communication, right? So be it family members, be it with your working colleagues, friends, and etc. Do you have any strategies like how we can actually improve on that?
Right. I told you one of the books I'm writing is on a family conference. There's another book that I'm also writing which has to do with couples. Communication between two individuals. In my experience of as a coach, sitting down and talking to couples over, believe me, 30 years, I have come to the conclusion that there are 5 areas that usually affects a couple. They're just 5 areas. One of them, which is what I'm going to be talking about, which is communication. The other area, which is basically the whole area of financial management and agreement or lack of agreement in that area. The next area is in the area of relationships, in-laws, outlaws, close friends. How far do you draw the line? Who do you let in and who do you let out? And then there's the whole area of romance, which often tends to fade off if not watched after marriage from both parties. And last but not least is in the area of sex. This is also something, so in most cases from my experience, if there is a breakdown in a couple relationship, it's often one or more or all 5. And this is not something I've gone and taken a course. It's basically pure experience of sitting down and talking with people, and people tend to have such challenges. So my hope is that these 5 areas, if they can be understood and agreed upon and worked on, you can have prevention is always better than cure. So my hope for couples just in that one area of family life. So that's one of the things that I'm also working on right now.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. Well, nice. I mean, well, these 5 areas are really important. This is the fundamentals of human nature, human life, human being, I would say. Because without this 5, if one is off, it will be like a sinking ship. Am I right to say that? Indeed.
And quality of life. For example, where I am living in right now in Denmark, I don't know how it is in Singapore, but couples who do get married, it's very close to 50% of couples who actually tie the knot end up in a divorce. And that's not a pretty sight, because as a counselor, when I'm sitting on the other side of the story with these clients who come with heartaches and pain, I can see that a lot of things could have been avoided if only they had what I would call post marital relational counseling, It's
okay.
amazing how much of money couples actually put into preparation of a wedding,
True.
and very much think that just that one big shot is going to pull them through.
Okay.
I would strongly recommend, just like you perhaps paid $500,000 buying a car, that doesn't mean that car's going to work for the rest of your life. You got to keep bringing it to service every year or so.
Yeah.
And likewise, I believe every couple who are serious about relationships need to service their relationship on a regular basis by seeking post-marital help and counsel and guidance,
Okay.
which would save them a lot of heartaches, and that will bring them on a far more longer journey as opposed to one of the short-term trials which some people are experimenting on today.
Okay. Well, I can't wait to actually learn a lot from you later on in your course as well. And just want to check with you, right? Basically, there's so many people that are watching right now that there are some of them that are pretty lost. Like they are pretty lost in their life somehow or other. What would you advise them? Like if they are lost in for example, their career-wise, or even in terms of their getting towards reaching their goal, for example. Do you have any advice for them, especially when they are starting out brand new?
I would recommend very strongly to those of you who are watching and who are perhaps starting out afresh or trying something new, to be cautious that you are in tune with your talents, your gifts that is unique to you. I'm a firm believer that every one of us, every single person who is in this planet has very special, distinctive gifts and talents, which are match-made just for you. Sometimes we may have the tendency to try and imitate the success of somebody else. If a fish tries to fly, I think the fish would feel like it's a total failure. And if a bird tries to swim under the water, for example, it will think that, what a failure am I? But if a fish swims and a bird flies, it is doing what it's meant to do.
Okay.
Likewise, we need to identify what is our strengths, what is our talents, what is our goals, which will make us successful when we are naturally walking in that path. So my strong encouragement is to discover what you're good at. One of the reasons why I'm a speaker is because I remember when I was a child in school, right here in Singapore, where my teachers used to tell me that, you were such a talkative. It was negative. You're talkative, you got to learn to be quiet in your class, don't speak. And I felt bad the fact that I could talk, not realizing that later on in life, that is what I was meant to do, to be a speaker. And I am thriving in my career, and I'm thriving in my gift because I'm doing it naturally. It just comes so natural. I'm not putting in any effort at all. So I would encourage viewers to find out what you're good at. Everybody is good at something.
I agree.
You are. Just get on with the show. Get on with your gifts. Get on with your talent. Hang on to that and realize that, hey, you know what, I'm actually good at this. And when you know you're good at it, then go for it. And of course people make mistakes. Of course people will fall. That's the part of life. But just because you fall once doesn't mean you've got to stick on that same spot. You get up, you dust yourself, and you move on again. And that's my encouragement to the people who are watching, starting up. It's okay if you fail, but just keep trying until you know that all that failures wasn't a waste. It was just another lesson learned, an experience gained. Then you can go forward and do well.
Wow, thanks, man. This is really valuable for all the audiences that's watching right now. I truly agree with you. We have to try first before we can thrive. If we do not try, we don't even thrive at all. We do not know what we are good at and everything. We will be very lost. We will be just doing a 9-to-5 job or any kind of stuff, and then we will be swearing, cursing, and hating our own job as well, right? So wow, I really thankful for having this valuable advices for my audiences that's watching right now. Be it you're a nurse, you are a engineer, entrepreneur, or anything, you know, you can thrive. You can thrive in life as long as you follow whatever that is being shared by Professor Ravi, and also at the same time following my show, the Raygacy Show. So wow, thanks a lot. And just one last question. If let's say today is your last day on earth, okay, what would you want to share, or what would your last advice be to the audience that's watching right now?
I think for me, what I often tell people is remember that life is a journey, but it's always a choice that we make as to which destination we want to go to. And in the process of that destination and the journey, remember to enjoy the ride. You don't have to be in first class to have a smile or laugh. You can be in economy class and still have a smile and a laugh.
Yeah, true.
The plane will get to the destination. Enjoy the journey. Don't wait until, you know, and plan so far ahead that when this happens, I'm going to be happy. When that's going to happen, I'm going to be happy. Learn to be happy as much as possible, and that joy will strengthen you and help you to go forward. So just remember to have fun while you are pursuing your goals. That will be my advice to all of you who are watching.
Nice. Thank you very much, man. Thank you very much for your advice. I really appreciate it. I really love it. And so for everyone who's watching, okay, do give us a thumbs up, or if you love it, you know, just give us a love. And I would like to thank the viewers. Okay, let me say thank you to all of you. Okay, Benny Sertio, the owner of 18 Chefs, he's ex-convict and then become a restaurant owner, an entrepreneur, and he's helping all the ex-convict right now. He's such an impressive and also at the same time inspiring guy. That I would also get him on the show as well. Thankful for Shen Long, Wilbur, Peter Sebastianus, Priya, Sky, Benjamin Liao, Helmi, Heiko, Syed, Jalani, Mahesh, Main, Iqbal, Cody Chua, Leon Su. Hitesh is one of the cerebral palsy speakers that's motivating people as well. He's right now live in India. Really thankful for that as well. And a few others, Adi Tam, Yan Wei, Angeline, Jose Ramirez. Hi, we are doing great today. Thank you very much. Thank you. And then Julius, George, Mark Francis, Malo, Kairu, Ahab, Meichan, Eileen Reynolds, my dad is watching. Oh, thank you very much. Ronnie, Tyra, Alfred, Leonard. Okay, thank you very much. We have come to the end of the show. If let's say you want to actually get the advices or get some solutions or services from our dear Professor Ravi, you can actually go to his website www.rcsolutions.dk.
Solution.dk.
Okay, and if let's say you find this really good, do like, love, comment, share as well. And also at the same time, Raygacy is expanding. We will have our logo, we'll have our introduction video and everything coming out really soon. So do stay tuned. And if you want to know more about me, you can actually go to www.raygacy.com. Okay, or you can find me on Instagram, Raygacy Raygacy, my Facebook page. And also at the same time, thank you very much for watching and goodbye. Alright, so have a great evening ahead. Take care. Bye bye.